Okay, guys, so I'm going to be breaking down this education reform that's currently going on in Finland. Um, Sorry I couldn't be there, but people have always told me I have a face for radio anyway. So first, we're going to go over just some quick general points about education in Finland as it is now. So first of all, schooling is free. It's free from kindergarten until basically whenever students want to stop, whether that's after high school or whether they wish to pursue a bachelor's degree, a master's, a doctorate. There's no tuition. So students, can pursue these higher education goals without, piling up mountains of debt like we see here in Ontario. Secondly, Finnish students do less homework than Canadian students. This comes from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD. It was a study done last year of 15-year-olds, and it found that on average, Finnish students spend 2.8 hours each week on homework, while Canadian students spend 6.1 hours a week. So that's important because in just a second, I'm going to be talking about how, until just recently, Finland led the world in international test scores. Um, but that's peculiar because of this fact that they do so much less homework and they score so high on tests. So lastly, Finnish students only take one standardized test through their entire elementary and secondary school career, and that comes at the very end of high school. So as we know, in Ontario, we have standardized tests at grades 3, 6, 9, and 10, and a lot of people believe that this is actually hurting our students because teachers are kind of teaching for the tests and doing so many preparation activities to make sure students succeed on these tests that they're kind of losing valuable teaching time that could be spent on other subject areas. So as you can see from this slide, Finland led the world in terms of test scores on the PISA, which is the Program for International Student Assessment, which is an international test that about a half a million 15-year-old students take. It's done every 3 years, and the last one in 2012, you can see Finland kind of dropped off into ninth place after being first for so long. So a lot of people say that this is kind of what is sparking their desire to reform their education system. So at this point, I'll get into the specifics of the changes that are occurring. So beginning in 2016, Finnish schools will place less emphasis on traditional subjects like math and history and put a focus on broader cross-curricular topics. Um, they're calling it phenomenon-based teaching, and they say it's to prepare students for the technological kind of global society that we're in or what the world is heading towards. So this kind of idea of real world learning and preparation. So Marjo Killonen, she's Helsinki's education manager, and she's kind of leading the charge for the initiative on this change. And she says, we really need a rethinking of education and a redesigning of our system so it prepares our children for the future with the skills that are needed for today and tomorrow. So basically, this change is meant to eliminate that student question of what's the point of learning this? It's something that we might have heard on placement. It's something that we probably said while we were in high school. Um, so it's meant to get rid of that. An example of how it would look would be, instead of learning the standard high school math curriculum, students would learn, a unit on how to calculate their taxes. So again, the idea of real world preparation. An example that The Independent uses, which is a UK-based news company, is that instead of teaching history and economics as separate subjects during the phenomenon-based teaching period, teachers would teach a topic such as the European Union and look at every aspect of it, blending together the two subject areas of economics and history. Just by crazy coincidence, I found this on Instagram earlier this week, and it's super appropriate. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to read that over. So at first, this program's going to be only a few weeks each school year to kind of test it out, feel the waters, and see if it's effective. Students are going to be involved in deciding the lessons that will be taught. Um, so they're actually going to have a say in what they learn. And the classroom environment is also going to be changed. So instead of the traditional classroom arrangement like desks in pairs or rows, um, students are going to be in kind of big groups, and this is meant to promote communication, collaboration, and skills like that. So one of the major opposing viewpoints to this program is that it kind of brings about the idea that education um, has no real value in and of itself, and that its only value is kind of its impact on the economy. Um, that this new program is basically training students for a job, so that these students can, meet the economic demands that the future will hold, or so that they'll be contributing citizens, contributing to, the Finland economy. So that's a major opposing view that you'll hear about this theory or program. I found one really interesting theory on the program, and that it develops four major areas or skills in these students, and those are communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. And that these four skills are going to be vital in the future, just because no technology, no AI, no robotics can duplicate these qualities. They're human skills um, that will be needed in this hyper connected world or hyper connected future that we're going to see. So Finland is building a sort of future workforce, um, as the author of the article put it. So my personal position on this program, and your opinion is going to be based on whether you think education should be, subject led, traditional, or skills led, real world led. This new thing that Finland is going for, and in my opinion, what we're seeing more and more of in Ontario, through specialist high skills majors, workplace level courses, co-op programs, and things like that. I think that here in Ontario, we're actually at this perfect medium between, this traditional learning and this kind of new age learning. And that's because, if academics are not a student's strong suit or area of interest, they can choose to pursue a path that will prepare them for the workplace. They have that option in Ontario right now. My concern with the phenomenon-based learning is it forcing the workplace path on students? By making sure that these students are prepared for the real world and prepared for the future, they're not being forced out of their comfort zone by taking courses that they would, maybe not choose to take, but would end up learning a great deal and loving it. I'm sure this is an experience that most of us had in high school where, there was a course that we didn't want to take, but, we had to, and we ended up loving it, or maybe we even ended up pursuing it. So is that option open to in this new program? But, on the other hand, this could be just another step in the evolution of education. And I'm going to compare it to textbooks in that we're seeing very little to sometimes no textbook use in classrooms because they're being replaced by Chromebooks and iPads for researching purposes. For the most part, I think this has been a positive change, as students are no longer limited to just the info that's in the textbooks. Many teachers that have made the switch say that they will never go back to textbooks just because of the vast difference in information available. But at the same time, there's these drawbacks of teachers not being able to regulate what our students find online. A lot of it could be opinion based. A lot of it could just be wrong or useless. Um, so that's a caution. And in my opinion, um, there's always these caution flags brought up when innovations are introduced to education, such as iPads or such as this phenomenon-based um, learning program. And I think it's just going to come down to a matter of determining whether the innovations outweigh the cautions, or vice versa. And I'm not sure that I have an answer for it quite yet, but I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot, guys.